This is why we've developed a comprehensive service offering to ensure that Google Analytics is installed in a way that meets your business's situation. Last year, we spent months across the team training, and I can say that we're proudly certified not only by Google, but also by Data Driven You, a comprehensive hands-on course developed by expert Jeff Sauer, who has been involved in training Google Analytics since its inception. We now have a plethora of resources at our disposal and are equipped to implement Google Analytics 4. It all starts with preparing correctly, where we assess how ready your site is. Remember, every circumstance is different, and it would be wrong of us to take a cookie-cutter approach. We need to make an assessment of exactly what we need to deploy. There are two use cases: a standard rollout, where your site is straightforward, has a low number of pages and simple conversion goals, probably most suitable for startups, small businesses. We do it all after the assessment. Or more of a bespoke rollout, which is suited for more complicated setups, such as e-commerce, sites with multiple goals, even multiple websites, and a more of an enterprise focus or software as a service, SaaS sort of focus. We take a deep dive here and make sure there's no stone left unturned. What's involved in our readiness assessment? Our Google Analytics 4 readiness assessment not only evaluates how prepared you are for the migration to GA4, the assessment and surface audit is a critical step to understanding your individual key needs to pull off a migration successfully. Since every business is different, this will help us understand where your business is at and help us to better estimate what's required in the design and deployment stage. So we'll scan through your website, we'll review your existing Universal Analytics account to understand the existing requirements, we'll review your Google Tag Manager account. Without doing a deep dive, that comes later in the full audit, we'll gain a surface level understanding of the amount of work involved. And then we'll score your setup based on general usage, state of the data, your current measurement strategy, team capability, data warehousing needs, complexity to migrate, current configuration, tagging setup, interface customization requirements, and reporting capability. We'll identify areas of improvement. Once we conduct the assessment and audit, we'll present a report that pinpoints any customer reports, metrics, goals, filters, or audiences that need to be included in the migration, any unique configurations that need to be migrated to GA4, any data quality or configuration errors that need to be fixed during the migration, the areas that most need to be focused on during your migration, your current readiness to undertake the migration. And all of this will enable us to confirm whether the solution you require is standard or bespoke. This is the design component. If a deployment is standard, we'll take care of this for you. If it's bespoke, we'll do it in conjunction with you. So what exactly are we designing? As part of our data audit and data review, we'll deep dive into the data you've got inside Universal Analytics and run through every report on your site to make sure you're configured properly. We'll provide a set of observations and instructions for fixing, or of course we can implement these for you in conjunction with your developers. As part of a rollout, we'll review the data monthly to ensure integrity and that everything runs smoothly. We'll also ensure your campaign tagging is consistent and you have a standard reference document for all stakeholders to use. Next, we'll review your current marketing funnel or coach you through setting one up. There are a number of different funnels, but generally everything, as a minimum, points to traffic, leads, and sales. We'll strategize a framework to measure your goals for the entire user journey. This can be done in one workshop or a series of workshops. The strategy session involves the marketing team and stakeholders. The workshop can be conducted in person or virtually via web conference. We'll then review both the findings from the data audit and measurement strategy workshop and provide you an estimate for deployment of Google Analytics 4 that meets your specific needs. Now we're ready to deploy Google Analytics 4. How exciting! This will happen in both the standard and bespoke scenarios. We will need to configure the GA4 platform and implement the most vital configurations to ensure it works properly. If required, work with key team members and stakeholders to recommend data policy. Implement any private and consent platforms to work with GA4 as needed. Implement the most vital settings for data quality, retention, and access control. We'll also migrate any existing Universal Analytics events and settings and configure GA4 against your measurement strategy. This involves developing a migration plan from Universal Analytics events and e-commerce, mapping all tag changes needed and providing code samples, configuring GA4 to accept new code and work with reports, training the team on how to utilize the new GA4 features they can now access. We'll get you set up in a new Google Tag Manager container that includes taking stock of all tags that need to be implemented to track your objectives, such as events, e-commerce, and any new items that may be identified as part of a measurement strategy, developing a tag container that matches all needed tags as well as triggers and variables, providing your developers with a complete list of tracking instructions for data layer implementation, thoroughly testing the implementation with 2 rounds of review with the developers. We'll customize the interface to match your measurement strategy. We can either configure it to look like Universal Analytics, if that's your preference, although that may be overkill, as I'm sure there are reports and pages that you never use. We can ensure those favorite reports are accessible and even cater for different stakeholders that will use the platform. Customizing the interface applies to the bespoke deployment, whereas the standard deployment will have the standard GA4 interface. So those previous components are what we consider mandatory for a proper rollout of GA4. However, there are some additional optional components that can be included as part of the initial setup, included down the track, or not at all. Should you need access to your Universal Analytics data, remember, it will stop collecting after July 1st, 2023 and only be accessible for at least 6 months. Our expert team can move your Universal Analytics data to a data warehouse. It can be stored in several places, and we recommend Google's BigQuery. We can back up all historical data, plus daily backups of Universal Analytics or GA4 data. Unified queries can be designed to link the data as one source in Looker Studio for seamless reports. If you use dashboards for reporting, which is what we highly recommend, we'll update your existing reporting dashboard to connect to the new GA4 data, or we can create a new dashboard for you. We'll take stock of all existing Universal Analytics dashboards, interviewing all your key stakeholders, and we can also convert dashboards not connected to Google Analytics to use GA4 data. If you have a preference towards monthly reporting, we can also assist with a mechanism so you can keep track of your goals and report back to your stakeholders. We have training, so you won't be left in the lurch, and can provide a few different options. First being do it yourself. This is where you do the training or follow our guidelines and then implement GA4 yourself. And you've got to remember to stay up to date with Google's official announcements for updates with each of their releases. Done with you, this is where we train you. We provide you with a 4-week course that has 2 weekly sessions where you will learn progressively and do the rollout with our support and be part of a cohort doing the same thing at the same time. You'll also be able to be certified afterwards. Or done for you. This is where we do everything for you and then train you on what's been done. By far the most popular option. So